This video is all about why consistency matters and what you can do to be more consistent with your brand. Consistency is really important. So if you are not consistent with your brand, then your business image is going to be really jumbled. Your messaging is going to be hodgepodge. Everything is going to be confusing to the people who you are hoping are going to become your clients or your customers. You want to make sure that what you are putting out there, what you are creating for your business, the impression you're giving of your business is as cohesive and clear as possible. So if you lack consistency, that just isn't going to happen. You're going to be struggling to create stuff. You're going to be sitting staring at screens, moving things around. You are deleting whole paragraphs where you don't know what you're going to say. You are rewriting things. You are redesigning things. You are adding in new things, new colours, new fonts to try and communicate something, but actually you haven't really got the clarity on what it is that you are trying to communicate. Consistency starts with clarity. If you don't have clarity, then you're going to find it really hard to be consistent. So I think there's really 3 steps to gaining consistency. The first one is that clarity piece, which is about your brand strategy. It's about getting really clear on who you want to speak to, what you want to offer them, what your values are, among other things, so that you can then use that information and make decisions about it, and it'll help to inspire and enable you to create really strong visuals that encompass all of that and help to get that message across. But if you've got the decisions on those things as well as the visuals, that's so powerful, because then you can go out there and use all of that information to create beautifully consistent pieces of content or whatever it is that you need in your business. It isn't just about content, by the way. It's about how you run your business. It's about how you show up. It's about what you do, anything you need to create for your business. So you might need a brochure, you might go to an event, you might go networking, you might be handing out business cards, you might be creating another page on your website. There are so many different bits and pieces and places where you show up for your business. All those touch points matter, and it's about being consistent in all of them all the time, so that whenever anyone turns up and looks at whatever it is that you've got for your business in that moment, they know that it's yours, and they go somewhere else and they know that they're in the right place, and then they go somewhere else and they still know they're in the right place. It's so much harder to run a business when you're not consistent. I know it feels quite hard to create that consistency in the first place, but honestly, once you've done it, it is just so worthwhile. It's worth doing. You've got to do it. It's also much harder for you to gain loyalty from customers, to be recognised, remembered, to be known by people. If you're not representing yourself in a clear, cohesive way, they're going to be so confused about who you are, what you stand for, what it is that you actually do. You've got to let people know. Once you have that clarity down, creating the visuals becomes so much easier. You know what you stand for by this point. The visuals lead from the clarity. If you don't have the clarity, don't even bother looking at the visuals. So once you have that clarity, you're able to create visuals that support all of your brand strategy and work with it. So this doesn't just mean having a logo, it means having really good colours that you stick to those colours. It means having fonts and sticking to those fonts. It means creating any assets that you might need. So you might need icons or illustrations or symbols to help add extra layers to that story and convey what it is that you want people to know about your brand. It means thinking really hard about the photography that you use, or the videos that you use, or the way that you speak and the things that you say and the messaging that comes across, the copy that you write and the words that come out of your mouth and the phrases that you say that help people to understand what it is that you're all about. So that clarity enables you to then go and use that to create fantastic visuals that support everything. And then the next bit is about being consistent with it all. So using the clarity and the visuals together to create something absolutely fantastic that people are going to understand. So being consistent is really about making decisions and sticking to them, which is something I say a lot. That is a phrase that I say quite often, and if you've known me for a length of time, you'll have heard me say that multiple times, because it's important and it matters. If you are making decisions and sticking to them, you're going to find it much easier to be consistent. You're also going to find it much easier to run your business, because you've done all the decision making. If your business is not consistent, you are probably sitting there getting really stressed every time you have to create something for your business, be that a social media post or a brochure, or maybe you're doing a talk, or you are going to appear on the radio, or you're doing a podcast, or you're going to go to an event and meet people, or you're making a business card. Any of those things, so much easier when you know what your business is all about, when you've got your brand strategy nailed and you've got your visuals sorted out, because you don't have to think as hard. You can start with the basics of what you know for that to be true, and then you can build on that with further knowledge. The more you continue going in your business, the more you learn and understand and know, and it's going to help you to go deeper rather than constantly thinking, I need to reinvent this, I need to do that, I need to add in this, I need to blah blah blah. You're going to keep adding more depth to your brand strategy and more depth to your visuals and in the way that you use them, so that you're more consistent all the time. You're not thinking about, oh my goodness, which shade of red do I want to use today? You are simply going to be able to go, right, I know it's that shade there, I need this hashtag, I need that font, I'm going to put it together, it's going to look fabulous because I know it all is together, and oh, I actually have a template that I can use already, so I don't even need to think about it. And then you can pop your words in, and that's easy too, because you know what you want to say to everybody, rather than going, oh, I've got to do this and I don't know how to do it and I'm really confused and none of it makes sense. It's so much easier once you've got that stuff in place. Just so much easier. You know what to do. And it's much less confusing for your customers as well, because they will see you appearing the same way and saying the same things in all the different places that you were doing that. And they won't be confused and thinking, oh, that looks different. Oh, why does that look like that? When I talk about consistency, I like to talk about the 5 R's. So we'll start off with repetition. This is doing the same things over and over again. You've got the same colours, you've got the same fonts, you've got the same words and phrases, you've got the same tone of voice, you've got the same style of music, you've got the same style of photography, you've got the same message, you've got the same things that you're saying over and over and over again, the same things that you are telling people about. So like for me, I'll talk about consistency, I'll talk about goals, I'll talk about growth and reaching those goals. I'll talk about your brand, your visuals, how they look, how they present. I'll talk about gaining confidence as a result of working on all those things. I'll talk about planning, because that links with goals and growth. All of those things are things that I talk about all the time, and I'll use phrases like brand explorer, going on a brand adventure, that sort of thing. And there'll be other things, other examples that you can think of in your business, maybe things that you could start to say more often, or you could ask a copywriter to help you with, or things that other people, other businesses say on a regular basis. And you're like, ah, yes, that's them. That's the thing that they say, like a sort of catchphrase. So when you start doing these things over and over and over again, that is repetition. That's the first R. And that's really important, because if you are repetitive in the things you're putting out, no, I'm not saying boring, I'm just saying repetitive, you're saying the same things, same way, the same examples. It's like when you say Google and it's always red, yellow and green and blue, and you recognise that. It's when you say Apple and everything is always white and simple and clean and clear and it's beautiful. And whatever it is, there's all these bigger brands you can think of, and you can see that they all work, everything works, it all just ties together beautifully, and you can achieve the same for your business as well. One of the great things about repetition is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you need to create something. You already have everything you need, which means it's so much easier to be visible. It's so much easier to show up. It's so much easier to get out there and show people what it is that you do and what you're about. If you're not letting people know that you exist, then no one is going to be able to buy from you. So being consistent really helps with that, because you're going to let people know that you exist and what you do and why and who for, over and over and over and over and over again, until they get the message, really. And it's about helping people to really get that message in their minds. So when you do those things, ultimately what will happen after you've done them for a while, and consistency isn't something where, overnight suddenly everything changes. It takes time. You're not going to be recognised the next day if you decide today, oh, I'm going to start using this shade of blue. By tomorrow, people aren't going to be recognising you for that shade of blue. It's going to take a while. And there's going to be a lot of touch points before people start to go, oh yeah, that is such and such. But once you've done that for a while, you will start to be recognised. And that's really helpful because that's what you want. You want people to start to recognise you and to think, oh, that is this brand, or oh, I recognise that, I've seen them before. I might actually just stop and have a look and see what it is that they're doing. I might click on that link, I might go and have a look. They're going to start to see what you're putting out there, and they're going to recognise it, and it'll make them stop and make them go, oh yeah, I've seen this before, it's important, I need to have a look. Or maybe it's just keep ticking away in their mind. And once they start doing that, then they're going to start to actually look at what you're creating, what you are putting out into the world, in whatever way you do that. And they're going to start to resonate with it if they're the right people. If they're not the right people, doesn't matter. You don't want them anyway. But if they're the right people, then they're going to start to resonate with what you're putting out there. And they're going to be interested in it, which is the third R. So resonating is about connection. So this is where you connect with your ideal customers. You know what they care about, you know what they're worried about, you know what keeps them up at night, you know what is stressing them out, you know what is making them happy, you know what's going to interest them and what's going to be completely of no interest whatsoever. So you talk about stuff that is going to resonate with them, the things that they are struggling with, the things that they are interested in, the things that you can help them with that are actually of interest in a way that is of interest. So once people start to resonate with what you are creating, that means that they're going to feel closer to you, they're going to feel more connected to you. And that happens because at that first clarity step, you spent some time thinking about your ideal customer so you could talk to the right people in the right way about the things that they actually care about. So once you start doing that, once they start resonating with you, then they're going to start to remember you. And this is the power of being consistent. You see, if you're not consistent, we're not going to get to that point. If you're not consistent, they're not going to start remembering you, recognizing you, relating to you, resonating with you. It's just not going to happen because they're not going to see anything that works. They're just going to see this mess. They're going to be taken in all these different ideas and messages that could be from different businesses, different people, and not from you, which is why consistency is so important, because it's about making sure they know it's you that's talking, they know it's your business, and they know what you're saying, and they're interested in that. They'll start to remember your business name, they'll start to remember what your logo looks like, they'll start to remember what it is that you do and the things that you say. That's massively powerful. That's what you want, because once they start to remember you, that means that you are front of mind when they need you. It's about being really intentional with what you're putting out so that you get the results that you want. So once they start to recognize you, relate to you, and remember you, that's the bit where it gets really powerful. So you've got through 4 whole points here. You're still doing this, and this is all happening. And then finally, you'll start to get some results. The results happen after a period of time, because you can't be repetitive, you can't be consistent and it not take time. It has to take time, because otherwise it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be consistent. It takes time to build that up, for people to look at everything you're putting out and go, oh yeah, that's all the same. So what I mean here is they go to your website, and then they go to your Instagram, and then they go to your LinkedIn, or they see a banner at an event, or they see a carrier bag, or they see a car with the signage on, or they see the outside of a shop with all the signage on, whatever it is. There's so many different ways to show up, isn't there? And they all feel like the same place. So once you're doing that, and you're being repetitive, and you're being recognized, and you're relating to people, or they're relating to you and resonating with you, and you're getting remembered, then when all of those things have happened, you will get results. And that might be that they become a customer. Brilliant. That is obviously the best result. But it might be that they finally hit follow on your posts, or they finally leave a comment, or they might sign up to your newsletter. Maybe they haven't done that yet, and then they're going to get to know you even better. They might refer you to someone else. They might say, oh, I've seen this post, this client, this business, and I think that's perfect for whatever it is that you need. So go and have a look at them. It could be connections to the right people. They might follow you, they might connect with you, they might become a client, they might know somebody who would be absolutely perfect for you to work with. There are so many possibilities when it comes to the results that you can get as a result of being consistent. It could be that you make friends. It could be a large number of different things. Results are not always immediately financial. It can come in all kinds of different directions, but ultimately that's what obviously you're hoping for, and you'll get a result of some description. So you need to be repetitive, so you're recognized, so people resonate with you, so they remember who you are, and then you will get the results. So consistency, showing up, being the same all the time, helps people to trust you. It helps you to appear reliable. Hopefully you're not just appearing reliable, you actually are reliable. But if you're showing up the same way, the same time, the same things, saying the same things over and over and over again, it shows that you know what you're talking about, and that your thing, whatever it is that you do, is the thing that you are an expert at. It shows that you are credible, and it helps people to know who you are as well. So it's really important that while you're doing all of this consistency stuff, you aren't showing up as somebody that you aren't, so that when people meet you in real life, they feel like they know you already, or they certainly feel like they're further along on that path, and they know that you're not sort of making it up, you're not somebody different to who you are in real life. So it's really important when you're doing all that to think about how you are going to make that happen. So to be consistent, we're talking about visuals and we're talking about messages mostly. So when it comes to your messaging, that's the bit you need to think about first. Visuals, really important. Love visuals, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the thing that really matters is to get your message right, because that supports everything else, and your visuals should come from that information. So this is about thinking about what your values are, what your key ideas are, what the benefits of working with you are, what it is that you stand for, what it is that you care for, because you don't want to be working with people who don't have the same values, because that's just going to be a disconnect. That's not going to work. You're going to end up really stressed out. So you want to make sure that you know what yours are, so that you can attract people who have similar ideas, similar thoughts about what their business should be like. And this is about being really clear on your brand strategy. And if you're really clear on your brand strategy and you know what it is that you stand for and what you represent and what matters, that makes everything a lot easier. So it's about the tone of voice, it's about your the words and the phrases that you use, like I mentioned earlier, all those different pieces that add up to your strategy, who your ideal customer is, where they hang out, what your position is. There's so much to it, and it's about creating content and offers that are consistent with everything that your brand is about, because that is the thing that is going to be attracting people to you, not because you use yellow, but because you are being consistent with the things that matter to you, the way you communicate that, and what you want to say about it and how that comes across. Then you can work on your visuals. So then you might use yellow everywhere, but you'll be using yellow because it says something about your brand. Those visuals, once you've got everything nailed, once you know what your brand colours are, once you know what your brand font is, once you've got your logo and any assets that go alongside that, illustrations, icons, symbols, patterns, textures, photographs, all those bits and pieces, it makes it so much easier to be consistent, because you've got that information, which I recommend you put somewhere. So you write it down in a place and you have a document, or you might be given one by your designer, but you include it in your brand kit. If you're using Canva, you have the codes and the fonts written down in a document or on a bit of paper somewhere accessible. You stick them on the notes on your phone. Whatever works for you, put that information in a place so it's easy for you to access, because then you can be consistent with it and you can give it to other people to use so that they can continue to be consistent for you. Also, think about how you are going to translate that information into templates, because then you don't have to think about the visual side of it. It's done. You just need to work with that to talk about the messages, talk about what really matters, talk about your values, talk in a way that really works for your ideal customer, to make sure that people know what it is that you're all about, to convey that clarity that you've created yourself to your audience. It's just about making life easier for you. So it's about creating clarity, it's about creating visuals, and then putting those things together to create a really consistent identity for your business, a really consistent marketing plan, and getting everything out there all looking the same, being consistent, so people know who you are, so they remember you, they relate to you, they recognize you, and then you get your results. It's really important to make those decisions and stick to them. And sticking to them can often be the really hard part. You might forget the decisions. You might decide you don't like the decision that you made the other day. You might decide, somebody else might come into your business or be part of your business and mess things up. So you've really got to come up with a way to make sure you do stick to those decisions and don't just let them disappear, because otherwise you put all that work in, all that effort for nothing. And really, you want to get from here to here as quickly as possible. And that's not going to happen if you keep going back on your decisions and starting at the beginning again. But the important thing is not to get bored during that process, because being consistent can feel boring. It isn't. If you're doing it really, really well and you are thinking about how to be creative with what you are putting out there, then it won't be boring. But you might still think, oh, I'm using this purple again, or I just want to add in a bit of pink. That would be really nice. But if you start doing that and adding new things in, then you're going to be diluting your brand. You're going to be more confusing again. You're going to be adding clutter. You want to be showing clarity. You want to be showing people who you are and what you do over and over and over again. Because whilst you see every single aspect of your business, everything about it, the people who are looking in are not seeing all of that. They might see one thing that you do out of every 10. You know, so to them, it's not boring at all. It's like, oh, that's them again. Oh, that's them again. And you've got to make sure that people recognise that, and that you're not making that harder for them to reach that point where they go, oh, I remember who they are. Because if you're being repetitive and they start to recognise you and they start to resonate with you, and then suddenly you change everything about how your business looks and sounds, you're going to be back to square one before you even get over here. So you've really got to commit to being consistent, which I think is really important, because if you don't commit to being consistent, you're never going to see those results. So once you've got all that nailed and you know what your clarity piece is and you've got all of your visuals sorted, it's really important to maintain and review that, because otherwise that consistency might just disappear. So every so often, just pull up everything that you've got in your brand and go, am I doing this? Have I got that? Have I added things in that shouldn't be there? Is there some message that I'm not talking about anymore that I've just dropped that I really need to bring back? Or if I did drop it, was there a good reason for it? It's about being so intentional about your brand so that you are always able to be consistent, and you know you're doing it properly, you know you're doing the right things, you know that when you are putting stuff out there, it is right. It's not just some sort of guesswork. You've made the decisions, it's there. You just need to check in on it occasionally and make sure that you are still doing the right thing, because it's really easy to slip back to those slightly messy, jumbled up sort of days where things weren't quite right and people were confused and you were just throwing stuff out there and hoping it worked. If you can review that occasionally, you have a much stronger chance of success, and those results are going to keep happening. They're not going to just sort of drip away. They're going to keep happening because you are still being repetitive. So even 5 years, 10 years down the line, you're still doing the same things, being repetitive, just with a stronger layer of knowledge and experience behind you that is going to help you push new, interesting things out there, but with that consistent level of consistency that is the same across everything, so people know it's yours. If you are struggling with this and just watching this video hasn't been enough to help you make some decisions and stick to them and get to that place of consistency, I have a course. It is £99. It's called Confident Consistency, and it talks you through gaining clarity, working on your visuals, and then being consistent, putting those things together to create a system really that will enable you to be consistent.